Now the humans partly obeyed the way of the spirit and partly obeyed the way of the flesh, and they became warriors and destroyers. Nevertheless, they harmed not the Ehins, nor suffered harm to come upon them. And although they were themselves half-breeds with the Magnons, yet they hated the Magnons and pursued them with vengeance. In those days, the relative proportion of the races of men were Ehins 100, humans 300, Magnons 5,000, and of monstrosities between man and beast 3,000. But the latter died each generation, for they had not the power of procreation amongst themselves. There was much destruction going on. The humans were slaughtering right and left. They did not understand or believe in spiritual matters. So it happened that great darkness covered the earth, and humankind, except the few Ehins, gave themselves up to wickedness all their days. The Ehins, being God's people, worshipped and preached in the temples, and the high angels and ministering spirits manifested themselves to them. But all the other races of people could not perceive and would not come to learn of God. About this time, people began to use their lips and tongues in enunciating words, prior to which they spoke in the thorax. These humans were capable of speech. They also began to be carnivorous, but the Ehins ate neither flesh nor fish. The Ehins dwelt in both the warm and the cold countries, for they clothed themselves and built habitations. They built mounds and lived in cities with wooden walls and clay walls. They were the people of learning. They would survey the way for the canals. They could find the square and the arch. They could lead the human to the mines where lead and copper and silver were buried. They had shapely legs and arms and feet and hands, and their hair grew long and straight, white and yellow. But the humans wore only a covering about the loins, neither did they build habitations. And it happened that the humans were a very prolific people, 4 times more prolific than the Ehins or the ground people. And they spread rapidly over the earth, in all the regions where the earth brought forth fruit and roots and flesh and fish that were good to eat. For thousands of years the humans prospered, and they became mighty in many countries. But in course of time they began to war upon one another. For hundreds of years they descended lower and lower in darkness. They no longer obeyed the commandments, and a great spiritual darkness came upon the race of humans. Millions of them returned to a state of savagery. Then angels of darkness came upon the earth, sometimes being able to take upon themselves the semblance of corporeal forms and dwelling with mortals and engaging in such debauched practices that it cannot be written. And so the lands of the earth were covered with a great spiritual darkness.